Welcome back to Property Play. I'm your host, Elena Saradidis, and today I'm with Anita. She's my favorite sales rep with Tridel. She is going to talk to us all things pre-construction because everyone seems to think it is a dark cloud in the Toronto real estate scene right now.
Thank you, Elena. You're also my favorite.
Someone's going to see this.
You know what? I have a lot of really great realtor friends. And of course, you must know this, myself and our team, we are here to build a very, very long-term business relationship. It's been so wonderful working with you so far. So definitely, I'm not taking that back.
I'm going to go take a screenshot and show every single real estate agent I know now. I'm like, just so you know, Anita said I'm her favorite. Okay, so what's going on kind of in the pre-construction market right now? Because a lot of people you're hearing shy away from it.
I agree with you. There's definitely that negative notion out there. We're sensing it. But we have to really quite understand what has brought that negative notion into place. COVID, of course, was one. And then it's geopolitical issues around the world, economic issues around the world. It's not just Canada. And so with, the economic challenges and the rates taking a huge uptake, that really took quite a bit of the consumer confidence away. And I think it's a lot more to do with consumer confidence than what the reality really is. Because real estate, you and I know, is it's a needs market. I mean, if you're buying for an investment, it's a long-term investment. We're not in the market of flipping, which we were at, I guess, at one point. And at even that point, it wasn't really quite healthy. If we can think back about a decade ago, in the way that the prices were increasing and how fast those product was going, we're kind of coming back to stabilization. I think we're becoming more stable. So that negative notion is there, and it has a lot to do with different factors. It's not just one thing that I can point at.
So whenever we talk about pre-construction, especially with clients, like whether it's with me or with anyone, it's the feedback I get is pre-construction is so expensive and compared to the resale market. But the part that most people don't realize is the cost to actually build is higher.
It is. And I'm glad that you're pointing that out. And when we're looking at our feasibility studies, absolutely. When we're thinking about the parcel of land, the cost of that, material, labor, and the time, right? So from the date that we actually take an acquisition and we commit ourselves to a parcel of land, it's not immediately that we're going to be launching. So we have to go through the strategies. And in essence, by the time we build, it could be 2 years, it could be 5 years, it could be more. And from there, it takes, the sales process is about 1.5 years. And then we get into finally being able to sell the project. And so when we think about all of the costs that factors in and the material costs that continues to increase, it's impossible to be launching a project at the prices of 5 years ago. It's just impossible.
I don't know if the number is still accurate, but I used to work for a builder.
I know.
And I remember the conversation was for us to build right now, it cost them about $1,200 a square foot. So they can't sell to you for less because then it's not profitable. 100%. No one's going to get into the business of doing something for free. There has to be a level of profit margin.
Right.
And the part that the consumer doesn't always see is the development charges. How much does it actually cost you for all the material? How much does it cost you to put the product together? And then it get to the point of resaleability where it's actually being sold to the consumer.
Absolutely. And that $1,200 price per square foot that you're referring to is basically with the standard buildings and in certain communities. So if we're thinking of luxury communities, of course, then we have those costs will be up. And then, seeing what the city is also imposing, if we really think about it, moving forward, all of the buildings that are being launched, it has to be electrified buildings. And so there is a cost factor, once again, that'll be in line with that. Or if we want to build sustainable buildings, if we need to incorporate, For instance, the well, as an example, this one is district energy source. It is, through on-wave systems. So just the complexity of this particular project in terms of cost reflection, that also plays into what that price per square foot is. And of course, location, right? So cost of land.
I'm going to go back to affordability because everyone's like, oh my God, nothing's affordable. And like they go into this, but they don't realize how much red tape builders actually have.
We do.
So for something to be affordable, it kind of needs to be mass produced. So if there was less red tape and we started producing, then prices would go down because it would all be in bulk. Like there would be too many options, prices go down. We're seeing it in the resale market right now. There's a lot of inventory right now. It's mostly investor style condo units. And the prices have gone down because of that. But if we're talking pre-construction, for us to actually have an abundance of inventory, it means developers need to build. So I'm going to touch on a new point. There's not a lot of developments happening right now.
There isn't.
We're talking global market. We're not just talking Tridel. Tridel's different. They've been around for 90 years. Like a leader of the pack. But in a global market or even in just Toronto or GTA, when we're talking about pre-construction buildings that have launched and have sold enough to be completed, because usually it's about 75% of the building needs to get sold for us to get financing for the building to actually be completed.
Yes.
So what is going on right now with developers? Why are things not launching? What's the long-term ramifications of no new product coming?
And you've worked with the developers, so this is actually a really good conversation to have with you. Building buildings is not, it's a very complicated process, with reference to all of, the taxation that the city imposes and all of the costs we talked about earlier. In essence, we have to really see where the market is. Back about 5 years ago, we would say, a lot of developers, essentially, we did the study to see what kind of product that matches, the market demand. And so at that point, it was first-time home buyers, there was a lot of investors. But with what's happening economically, those consumers no longer have that confidence to actually make a purchasing decision. So with reference to that, a lot of builders have put a pause right now and not launching any projects. But that actually means that, let's say 5 years from now, our population growth haven't really quite stopped. It continues. There's definitely a demand. I mean, look at the GT. We're about 8 million population. And so the inventories that's available right now is at a healthy figure. And, consumers have the opportunity to make those purchases at a really good price points. But they're not really buying it at a lower price per se from, when it was originally purchased. So the prices did go up. But, when we think about, I think we need to focus more on the long run than the current state. We will be short and supplied, simply said, just because there will not be enough inventory available in due time due to the factors of all of the pauses that's happened over the last few years.
100%. So I think what people need to remember too is the sky's not falling. Pre-construction's not dead.
No.
It does need to be bought though, or there will be no inventory coming. And if there's no new inventory coming, then prices will inevitably go up. That's the reality. We don't have supply, there's demand, prices go up.
And when there are pre-construction opportunities available, I think this is really good time for those who've been looking and waiting on the sidelines to make those purchasing decisions, because you can find really, really beautiful communities. You can find, the builders are becoming a little bit more in touch
Friendly.
with the consumers out there, and they're we're understanding that where they're at right now, and so we're here to support and help them as well in finding them their right home. Because if you're buying right now, and it is a good time, and it's completing in 5 years from now, and 5 years from now when there is a lack of inventory available, that's when you're going to actually see the real value of what you're buying today. Yeah.
There was a period of time though, and I'm going to touch upon like a controversial topic, but there was a period of time where the market went completely insane. Everyone was buying everything. And then some people got caught. And I found it really interesting when we were talking with Winston about the number of people that defaulted in Tridel buildings, because it was almost none. Like Winston, I think, said 3 people.
2.
It was 2?
It's actually in reality it's 2, and we are actually quite proud of that because the banking systems are very conservative. In order to qualify to actually get construction financing, that requires a lot of commitments on the developer side. And so for us, the biggest commitment we did launch, and this is sort of the strategy we've used for decades. We require 20% deposit. We require a firm mortgage approval letter right at the get-go. And so for this reason, the buyers that were coming to purchase directly from us, they were prepared. And so when we went into final closing, we did not have to struggle with having a flow of units coming back to us. Which
is very uncommon right now. I work with a couple developers. The amount of non-firm approvals that, everyone was doing it. Yeah. You guys were one of the few builders that were requiring firm approvals.
And we would verify them.
Yeah, but you were one of the few, because I know a lot of people that, and this is a common topic, people would buy product and be like, we're going to assign it before it's completed. And I remember talking to people being like, if your goal is to assign, don't even bother buying it, because smart. You don't know what will happen, right. And you don't want to be in a position. But even now, there's a bunch of assignment sales on the market that people are trying to walk away from deposits because they weren't prepared. Right. And when you go into the product, this is bad because, I'm going to get in shit now for this. Oops, I said it. But very few product look like Tridel's product. Like you walk in and it's the same. And no matter if you've looked at a building that's 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, or now, they relatively look the same. Like you guys have a good product model. So I do think anyone that also purchased in a Tridel building knew exactly what they were doing. They're like, we want to close. This is our intention. Here is our firm approval. It's true though. I've seen other developers go up and they were like, we were selling them. It was in a good location, but the people weren't targeting to actually live there. They were targeting to only be an investment.
Right. And then some of those consumers, they perhaps maybe over leveraged themselves, unfortunately. And so when it comes to Tridel, of course, 9 decades is a long time to be building. And so we come with experience. And to sustain yourself as one of the leading developers throughout these decades, that really builds that confidence into our buyers, homeowners. Essentially, what kind of differs, and we do have a lot of great developers that build the city. We can't just be building an entire city. We do it, in collaboration with other developers. And so, when we go into any parcel of land or in a space to build, it's really changing the area. It's creating, a community. And we realize that a lot of the pockets that we go, we seem to have other fellow developers that kind of follow suit. So we do this together. But, ultimately with Tridel, we do everything under the same umbrella, from feasibilities into the sales process, into building the building, managing the building, and even we handle the rental perspective, whether it's unfurnished or our Dell Suites, which is furnished. We manage the building for the rest of its life, over 90% of our buildings are still managed by Tridel sister company, which is Dell Property Management. And this helps, we build great quality buildings, but to sustain that value, the management plays a big role in the way that the upkeep sustains itself. And so you've mentioned you go to a building that's 20 years old, 25 years old. You can really sense that, and that it holds its value and it still looks as beautiful as, it did closer to when we launched. We don't just show you those beautiful renderings. You see the renderings, and I've been with Tridel for 20 years, and I can tell you that.
So Anita started when she was 12.
Right.
Yeah. I've been with Tridel for 20 years.
And so, when I look at our renderings and when the building is finished, the physical building right at the entrance level gives you that pride of ownership, and the renderings don't quite justify what the actual suite as it actually represents itself in reality.
So I think the way we should conclude this is if you're looking to purchase condos in this market, pre-construction in this market, do your homework. That's the most important. Study who you're trying to buy from. That is important. And reputation is key, because in an uneasy market, reputation is the best thing you could go for.
And I can't agree more. You know, doing your homework pre-construction is, again, there's a lot that entails into the whole process. And so, yes, doing your homework is important. Understand the location. Understand, the location amenities. Accessibility is key, whether it's transit or highway or walkability. That's important. But also looking into, emphasizing into the building in terms of the design. That plays a big part. It's a lifestyle. Condominium living is a lifestyle. So as much homework as you can will never be enough. And you must, to sort of a word to the consumers out there, work with your trusted professionals and help them guide you, and so that you are making a well-informed decision before you actually commit to any of the pre-construction condos that you're purchasing now.
I'm going to ask another controversial question, because people ask this all the time. Do people get better deals if they go directly to you, or would it be the same if they went with an agent to you?
So with reference to our prices, we believe in true value and true price. So the big gain for consumers going with a realtor is really all the professional services and knowledge that you would provide to them. And with regards to our pricing, would it be any different? It wouldn't be.
So you heard it here first. It does not, it doesn't matter if you come in with your own agent or you go directly to them. The price is the price, and we'll help you, guide you through the process. If you haven't noticed, today we're sitting in one of the signature units at Tridel's newest development at The Well. And the great thing about condos right now, or pre-construction right now, is you can actually go in and see it. You can see what the product is that you're gonna buy. So if you like content like this, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And if you're interested in what smart sizing is, which is what most consumers are looking for right now, we're going to talk about it on the next episode. Once again, it's Elena Saradidis, and today was Property Play with Anita from Tridel.